In this video, we're going to be talking about decluttering ideas for when you're feeling completely overwhelmed. Let's get into it. Hey, and welcome to the Maximized Mom. I helped overwhelmed moms declutter their homes and minds in order to escape survival mode and start feeling like themselves again. So let's get into my tips on decluttering when you're feeling overwhelmed. Number one, the first thing you have to realize is that part of the reason why you're feeling overwhelmed is because of the clutter. So it's easy to fall into this place of, I don't have time, I can't do this, I'm overwhelmed, and so we don't make progress. However, when you remember that the chaos and the clutter is what's causing the overwhelm, it makes a big difference. With every item you remove, you're getting back energy to put somewhere else. And remember, the relief of decluttering may not be immediate, but keep taking action and have faith that you're going to get closer to eliminating that overwhelm for good with every step you take. Number two, remove clutter from your house quickly. Don't let yourself accumulate piles of things to be donated that you then keep in the garage for months. All you're doing at that point is just shuffling the clutter around. So when you do pull things out to get rid of them very, very quickly. And when I say get rid of them, I mean get them out of the house. Tip number three, if you're feeling overwhelmed in this process, take it in really small chunks. I even tell some of my students to take it as low as 90 seconds at a time. Working in small increments will add up to big results. It's more about showing up every day than it is about tackling huge projects all at once. I recommend starting with 15 minutes at a time, but once again, if you're feeling overwhelmed, even 90 seconds just to get you to show up is perfectly good to start. Tip number four, set hard stops for your cleaning time. Now, we often feel overwhelmed because we think we need to tackle a big project. So we end up not starting because we feel like if we start, we won't have time to finish it. I recommend the importance of committing to starting, but also committing to stopping. It's far more important that you tackle small chunks you can show up to every day compared to a big chunk just when you feel like you can get a ton done. Tip number five, do not pull everything out when you're decluttering. It is so tempting to just get in there and pull everything out and just make a big mess. We often feel like we're getting a lot done when we start a big project. However, inevitably, we almost always leave feeling more overwhelmed than when we started. So I am a big proponent of starting really small in small spaces and small chunks. Don't pull everything out. Now, before we go on, I'd love to invite you to take my free 5-day decluttering challenge. In this challenge, I teach the Maximized Mom's signature method, which I call the Core 4. It's the method that I personally use to keep my home clean and peaceful in even the most chaotic seasons. If this sounds interesting, you can click the link in the description or go to themaximizedmom.com/challenge. Okay, let's get back into it. Tip number 6. Accept that you're going to make mistakes and you might end up getting rid of things that you regret. A lot of the times this will keep us from even starting, but when we accept that it's just part of the process, it helps a lot in tackling this fear. What we have to remember is even though we might make mistakes, the risk is 100% worth it because of the mental space and peace and just clarity in your body and home that you're gonna get back by removing all this stuff. So even though it might feel scary to get rid of things that you might regret, it is completely worth it, and I encourage you to move in bravery. Tip number 7, don't tackle sentimental items when you're feeling overwhelmed. Start with the areas that are a bit more obvious, like trash or just the things that you really know that you don't use. I call this the surface level, and this consists of things you don't like, you don't need, and you don't use. There are absolutely methods into getting into the rest of our stuff, but when you're feeling overwhelmed, it's just important that you see yourself making progress. So don't dive into those family heirlooms or the super emotional objects right away. Start with the things that you know you can get rid of without feeling really bad or without feeling really emotional, and go from there. Tip number 8, sometimes it can be really helpful to enlist help from someone who has no connection to your stuff. A lot of times we develop deep emotional connections and beliefs about the items we have in our home, so it can be really difficult to make decisions and let go. With that being said, it can be really helpful to have an outside perspective of someone who doesn't have an emotional connection to your things. Now take note with this, if you are going to bring in someone to help you, it's also really important that this is someone that's not going to be upset or enable you. You don't want this to be your grandma who's going to be really upset because you're getting rid of all the things she gave you. Enlist someone who can be honest with you and help you be honest with yourself. Tip number 9, reward yourself. It's so easy to look at the huge project in front of us and not appreciate the fact that we have been getting little bits done consistently. A lot of times we look at ourselves and beat ourselves up for not having more done. But the truth is, that's part of what's making you feel overwhelmed. So instead of talking down to yourself or being frustrated that you're not further along in the process, take some time to give yourself a pat on the back and treat yourself a little bit. This doesn't have to be a monetary thing, and it definitely doesn't need to be going and buying something else. It can be as simple as watching a TV show of your favorite thing on Netflix, or maybe it is going and buying a coffee or whatever. Just do something to make yourself feel good about the process. And tip number 10, find community. It's really easy to isolate yourself when it comes to your home, because a lot of times we feel embarrassed and we think that our home should be cleaner. So we kind of like to hide it away. However, there is a lot of power in having support and knowing that you are not alone in this journey of decluttering and transforming your home. Shameless plug, if you do need a community of women to support you, then I would highly encourage and invite you to join the Maximize Mom membership. And it may be the perfect place for you. It is a community of ladies who constantly support each other to build the home of their dreams. So if you do need a support system, drop a comment and I'd love to get you more information. Well, those are all my tips on decluttering when you are feeling overwhelmed. Once again, I'd love to invite you to sign up for my free 5-day decluttering challenge. You can click the link in the description or visit themaximizemom.com/challenge. I'll see you in the next video.